All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in for today's live stream, the Hack and Play, where I'm going to be working on SimplyTest.me. I haven't been able to really work on SimplyTest.me due to I was doing it on Sundays, then summer happened. So we're going to work on it a bit right now. So we're getting close to updating SimplyTest.me to the newest version. So I'm actually not going to pay much attention to the issue queue. But what I am going to do is go through this simplytest.me D9 QA that Adam started working on and try to just squash through a few things. And one thing I started to do to fix that, actually, let me close Slack. All right, and make sure I've got notifications turned off. Sorry, I just got back from a bike ride and wasn't quite ready. All right, so we got our profile. Let's make sure I've got the latest simplytest.me profile going on here. Yep, so get pull. All right, so up to date. I'm gonna do get new branch, big ol' bug smash, and I don't really have a main goal except for just fixing things. So we have various tests inside of the project, and one of them are actually failing. Let's see where they are. Unit. So let's go here. I think these are failing and I can't run them directly because everything's indexing. So let's go straight to the source. All right, actions. Something's been failing on PHP unit. Which step is it? Oh, it's several of them. What? Views dot settings. Okay. So we have quite a few errors. Instance manager test. Why did that should not have made a call out to. Oh, so it did. We need to mark this skipped. One second. So I need, we don't have any secrets. So let's see here. Array string false, string array false, environment variable. If no variable name is provided, wait, or false on error. So I need to test something here really quick. So that was failing. When it should be skipped if we're missing the environment variables, it should be skipped. What is this warning me on? Let's switch to 7.4 because that's what we have everything running on, which again is a bug that needs to be fixed. So let's go look at Docker compose.yaml. Docker file CI 7.4. So let's change this. 7.4. And we're going to also copy that into the composer.json for simplytest.me. Ignore that error. All right, so let's run this. So this should be skipped if we don't have the environment variable, but it didn't. So equal to null. Let's do a var export. Oh, the problem could be I'm running PHP 8 on my machine. The test did not perform. False. So it's false. So get env is false, which actually what we could just do, yeah, we'll just change that to be not or. There should be and. So if the API key is false or the repo ID is false, it should be marked as skipped. Skipped. Let's run it again. Oh, that's right. I wrote this to create tests that make sure we do full builds. So this test is actually going to take a minute because it's triggering a tugboat QA. Sign in with GitHub very quick. All right. Tugboat dev. So this actually is causing this instance to build. And I wrote this as like a hardcore full, what do you want to call it? Full functional test. So this test is waiting for this to pass. That finalized. And we can see here that it's waiting every 2 seconds to check if it's still a preview. So once this is committed, I bet the test will pass and the test actually cleans it up. And we can see that it was deleted. All right, so that's what that test does. What we should do is private array preview IDs is an array. And we should add a teardown in here. So teardown happens after each test. So after each test, I guess we just, my one thought was that every time something's created, we should push it so that way it gets cleaned up automatically. But I guess pushing it to that array and then doing it here is the same difference. So, yeah, there's no way to track what was created. So never mind. All right, that's one failure fixed. That should have been skipped. Core version test installed views.settings with the following errors. So that goes into here because we have the config inside the profile. So views.settings, following errors, master display, because it probably was changed to a different name. So let's look at views.settings from install. Default display is what it was changed to. So we can fix that. Core version manager. I feel like this just needs to be turned off. Test release data. Nine, 3, array 9.2.x dev. So major version, expected count should be bigger. Expected result example. It's assuming the first one. So what we should do is so I think we could do this. Assert contains. Can you do assert contains if the needle traversable contains value matches constraint. Assert that constraint, evaluate the constraint, which is traversable contains, which is deprecated, but so we say traversable contains only, not each other item. All right, let's just see if it works. Or let's verify. So if I run this, we should get a failure because the first release entry. It's a major version. Why does this pass? Assert equals canonicalizing. That's a mouthful and a half. That could be it. Let me see what I did. Fix failing test. I did something silly here. Why did I add this? Well, that just seems like that's doing nothing. There's 9, 8, 7, and then 10. So let's look at this. Assert equals canonicalizing. Let's see what that does. Assert that two variables are equal canonicalizing. What? But what does canonicalizing mean? Is equal delta. Oh, so the one thing I was thinking is assert contains, because we need to see if this result example is actually in this array subset. But I don't know if you could do is in array with an array against an array of items. So result is an array of releases, and we have a sample release here. So I'm just going to run it again and see if it explodes. Failed asserting that an array contains that array. Yeah. Because we could do like for each. Oh, wait. I think I know. See, it's a kernel test. Hold on. I think I might know what's up, because get versions returns an array of objects, and we're passing an array. So if we convert the array to an object, not green. Assert contains equals. So the thing is, I don't want it to be equal. Assert attribute contains, assert not contains. Let's see. PHP unit assert array is in an array. Assert contains test if array contains values using PHP unit. Well, we've been there. Test array partials. Assert array subset, maybe. Array. So as get rid. Assert equals in array. So it sorts the array. So the one problem might be that we need to check inside of an array. So we're not doing an equals. Well, here we are, but the thing is, like, it's actually different. Because it's always rotating. The first result turned out to be 9.3.x. So every time that there's a major or a minor release version for Drupal core, the tests break is what happens. So if I were to fix it, so like if I went here and I changed this to say that the first release was going to be 9.3, it should pass. But as soon as the 9.4.x branch is cut, it fails because we're trying to test against known release data. Assert contains variable. This doesn't seem to be. It could be mocked, and it could just be we just leave it as is. But I wanted to try to make it be working. It's definitely something I probably don't need to be worrying about, but it's definitely something I could probably just not have like deal with or worry about at the moment. But we'll see if this does anything. Assert contains would fit more here. Yeah, it would, but it wasn't working. So that's funny. Let's kick this back. Awesome. Thank you for subscribing. Helps out and keeps the motivation going. So this is the weird part. This worked right here. Assert true in array. But if we change it to assert contains, it's going to fail because it probably does a strict check. Yeah, so it's probably doing a strict check on the object itself. Now, if we wanted to change this, results, let's just go results equals array map, static function object foo, return array, cast all of it to all the foos to arrays, results. I bet now it will pass. It's just because it's doing a strict equals check against objects, which always fails. So I'm going to copy that here. Note, we do the array map because assert contains performs a strict check, and strict checks against objects always fail if they are not literally the same object. And we can rename foo to be refactor, rename, result. All right, so now that should be more dynamic. So if there's a new 8.9 release or anything like that, it won't break. Or once 9.4 comes out, even 10.0. So we have less random failures, which is, well, one thing I want to ensure. Let's see here. Okay, so this, I just forgot to update a bunch of tests. D7 config test. So we can't run the PHP unit tests on Drupal.org for a profile. You've never been able to run tests on Drupal.org for profiles. So we have these tests, but they're basically, we make commits, and if I forget to run them, they get broken, and then we eventually have to go back and fix them later. And in this case, it's due to missing the addition of the /p option, or -p. Is this the same difference here? Oh, sure is. So let's go and find any usage of this and replace it and rerun it. Okay, so that's passing. Yep. Tugboat config base. Yep, that's that failure, that failure. Which one is this? Make sure I'm still, oh, D8 config test. So D8 config has the same problem, but let's make sure. Yes. We'll run it. All right, and then I'm going to guess that the Drupal 9 has the same problem because they all share a lot of the same base. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so that should take care of all those errors. So let's commit this. Commit. Say fix test failures. Analyzing code. Come on. All right, and composer.json. Mark that we use 7.4 PHP. Okay, so let's go to this list. So now all the tests should be green. Adam had this one problem where there's an MB string error, but I have not been able to reproduce that at all. Let's see if something changed in the code. So tugboat, where do we have this? Launches the codes also needs to be, maybe this would be a good chance to get some of this stuff moved around together, because we got the tugboat preview config generator that goes in here, the controller, and then like the launch like ties in, but I don't want to get too wild with it, I guess. So MB string gave an error. But I can't reproduce that. STM dir error. So let's go ahead and how we have the instance manager test here. And we have test Drupal 7. We're going to go ahead and do we're going to make a helper method for running the same thing. So we're going to do a private function do test. Here we go. Or hold on. What am I thinking of here? Why would I make a helper function when we can use a data provider? So let's say data provider. The only problem with like a data provider is it would make it harder to run like a one-off instance. So actually, let's not do that. So let's do, we're going to copy. We're going to rename this to be a private function do test, which receives the array submission. I'll say this is going to make sense in a second once I do test, or at least I hope it will. So we'll say submission instance ID submission hash is hash, and why is this giving an error? Array write access is unused. So the idea is here. let's just do the test. We do not use a data provider. A data provider, which would normally make a lot of sense. However, this makes it easier to run a specific test scenario since this involves a full functional integration with Tugboat. So the idea is we could have used a data provider to make it just run a bunch of different samples. But the problem is if I wanted to test just Drupal 7, I'd have to run the whole test suite. It'd be really hard to say I need to test Drupal 7 and password policy. I'd have to run the entire test suite or the entire test class, not one individual method. So that's the idea behind that. So instance ID, we don't need to make that its own variable anymore. The hash. All right. So that seems good to go. Throws tag. And the submission. All right, so we got test Drupal 7 and it says Drupal 8 has a failure too. So let's make test Drupal 8. Drupal version, let's say it's 8.9.9. What do we got going on? So you can run, I know you can, it's not going to let me click the link easy and it's going to open it in Chrome. So I know you can, but I have no idea how you do it from the command line. Oh, like that. Secondly, I didn't know you could name yields either. I am a fool. Like I do yield a lot with my data providers and I was like, oh, they don't have names. I didn't realize you could do this. Huh. So that's interesting. The one problem, and I wish that maybe PHP Storm found a way to do this, is so we're in here. Oh, I should name these things. Like there's no way to do it from inside of the base test. Like, oh, I want to run this one item from yield. Now I kind of feel like maybe I should just do that. Yeah, I wish I would have known about being able to name yields. Like I in hindsight, like that makes complete sense, but I never did it. But I think for this case, I'm going to just do it this way because in PHP Storm it makes it easier to run. Yeah, I'll leave it like that. And there's a typo here. No, there's not. Additionals. Yeah. All right. What was I going to look for? Drupal.org project Drupal. What is it? We got 8.9.18. We'll just pick that. And then if we go to the token module, because that's just what I'm using for the samples, is it's building a sandbox environment with token. We got 8.x 1.9 with no patches. So let's go ahead and run this. So again, if we go to the dashboard.tugboat, if we go to the repo, now it's being built against our base 8, which also we have the base previews, and those really need to be updated as well. that's something else I want to work on, is getting inside of SimpliTest to rebuild the Tugboat previews. So if you're not familiar with Tugboat, Tugboat is a way of generating like one-off preview environments. And whenever you generate an environment, it takes up disk. And that's their limit is about how much disk you use up. But what you can do is create a preview, and that's like the snapshot. So then each other previews that are built off of it only have a little bit of space. It's basically the difference. And it makes everything a little bit faster too. So the idea is that you have your base previews. So we have a base for D7, D8, D9. And then every time that we go and create a new environment, we leverage that base, which has a smaller size, everything there. Just like when you use a Docker image, right? When you create Docker images, you use from something else, and then you go from Docker. You have different Docker images, and then you can have your different layers, and your custom layers are going to be smaller than the entire layers of the full image, basically. All right, so we got the failure, so this failed here, which made PHP Storm pop up and say that the test failed. Now the good question is, oh, it doesn't delete this fail. Oh, we don't want to fill out that entire message because that's a lot of stuff. Well, we need to at least make sure that that's where the teardown would be good. So maybe I should add the teardown. Or, no, we'll just do it there. Well, try catch. Not a finally. Hold on. When did this fail? Ready. So I guess what we should do is run the delete first and then verify the status. Oh, we can't entirely do that. So yeah, I am going to make a teardown. Delete preview. So that test failure doesn't leave it lingering. Yeah, I guess we could do that. The only problem is then we don't get the logs. So maybe what we should do is not get the status data. We have a way to get the logs. So settings, the progress, instance ID, instance state. Here we go. Preview, 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 logs data. Logs data. Log response. Here we go. So log response. Let's see, what we could do is just return like the last half of it, but we're going to have it return that. All right. We'll try that out. So now we got one problem where invalid version cannot parse version constraint 8.x 1.9. And that makes sense because that's not a composer version. So let me just see what we... So we have a beta site that's up, beta.simplytest.me. Let's do token. So what do we actually put for the values in here? So we have, this is neat. So now this was one change that happened, is we have all the versions grouped. So that way you know like what's latest. So latest. All right. So we have it in there. So what we need to do is in the preview config generator, or actually we can test it in here. Project type module token. This is wrong. So we know right here that this is wrong. And what we really need is that to equal 1.9. Oh, okay. We want this. I lost my doc. So actually, we want this to be 8.x. We want the source to be able to pass the Drupal.org version control label. But we want the end result inside of here to be 1.9. So back that up. That one's okay. That one's okay. All right. Just 1 second, gonna check again. All right. So if I run this, we're gonna get failures because it's showing 8.x 1.9. And while we're in here for Drupal 9, it's going to be the same problem. So let's go ahead and remove that. Move that one. I guess the easier way is to search for that. So if we run this again, we got the same kind of failures. So then we can go to the preview config generator, and it's in here somewhere. Download commands. So if 9, if is distro, composer require additional version. So we have it in 2 spots. And we don't want to mess up Drupal 7. So we've got these 2 versions need to be fixed. So we need to make a helper. So let's do private function get composer compatible version string. Oh, look at that name. That is a beautiful name. So version, it's going to return a string. So if string position, blah, the hyphen in version is not equal to false. Otherwise, we're going to return version. Let's do a empty string, or I guess, wait a second. We could do this smarter, possibly. So it returns the starting position. So let's do this. Split there if split not equal to false. Return the string, the version. Otherwise, we return, what is it? Return substring of version offset is split. It might be split plus 1. So let's do that, or let's try that rather. So get the download commands. We'll do this, get composer compatible string. Before I get too far, let's just run it once and see if that makes a difference or what outcome we get. Well, that didn't do anything. Oh, because I only did it for Drupal 9. So this, there we go. Let's run it. Still nothing. Okay, well, since I am failing here, let's do the breakpoint and go to run debug. No test executed. Well, why would you crash? Second, let's see, PHP. What in the world? It's a unit test, so it should be working just fine. Oh, well, that's a bummer. Doesn't seem to want to do the debug. So we're going to do this the old school way of, let's see, we should be here. No, I have Xdebug enabled in PHP 8. I do this all the time. I was doing it even earlier today with another project, but PHP unit's crashing for some reason. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I have PHP unit 8 and I'm on PHP 8 or what. I don't know. But what we can do is, this is my favorite go-to, var export parameters true. Well, all right. Something is okay. What? All right. What is going on here? So apparently there's something weird's happening with running an individual test inside PHP Storm right now. Maybe it's because if I go to test frameworks, that might be why, because it caches the PHP unit version, and sometimes you have to go in and refresh it. So let's try that again. Nope. All right. Preview config generator. So it should be in the download commands. All right, let's leave that debugger statement in and just run. Yep, runtime exception, project version 8.x 1.9. So why is this? I bet I did something real silly in the logic in that function. So if split is not equal to false, return that. So all right, let's go down the stack a little bit. False. Wait a second. Well, it helps if I do the parameters in the right way. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Great, we're green. So, if you ever get caught with having the flip-flop of the string position parameters, you're not alone. I just wasted a good amount of time being confused on that myself. All right. Now, what we also need to modify it is in every time that there's an additional submodule, we need to fix it. So we'll do it there, and we'll add it here also. All right, rerun the test once more. Cool. All right, so now that that's going, we can go back and do the test Drupal 8. Let's go see the build. Well, let's first delete this old one. Wait for this build to go. And that, so we didn't have these errors here. But we need to check the one click also. Mommy demo, so looks like it's cloning simply test dev repo. I don't even not even sure what that means. So let's look at some of this plugin. So ideally, one thing I'd like to do is have all of the builds as plugins. CD, STM, composer update. Oh, that failed. so it dumped the log, which is great, but it's a long log. So let's go to the end. Tugboat command failed. Cannot CD into STM. Okay. CD STM composer update. Preview config generator. Oh, I think that's because we already... Wait. Hold on, this was in Drupal 8. Oh, I think this is it. We have to do this CD doc root? No. Oh, I thought some of this got fixed for Drupal 9. So it's in the patching stage. Get patching commands. CD. Oh, because in Drupal 8, there is no STM. It's right. Shoot. So we actually do need to split out. Wait, hold on. No, we don't. Composer dir equals STM. Else it's... Hold on. Where am I going? Where am I going? A composer patch command. That's not gonna... Shoot. Because the Drupal 8 builds aren't using Composer. So we're going to copy. We're going to do it this way. Get Drupal 8. That seems... So let's do it that way. Let's make a directory parameter. So that will work for Drupal 8. Then you get back up to the top. So download commands, Drupal 8 CDs into the doc root. So we need to go to the patch commands. Where'd it go? Patching commands. Here we go. So say composer. There is parameters. Major version equal to 9 is STM. Otherwise, it's the doc root. So we have to do... We can do that. And then inside of these, we can do the composer that's a horrible name to use. So I'm going to replace this with working directory. Refactor, rename, composer, working directory. So now if we go to the Drupal 9 test, the Drupal 9 config should pass because we didn't make any changes to Drupal 9, but Drupal 8 should fail when patching because we have it going to the doc root. All right. Patch. Which it's not completely fixed because we know it needs to be fixed there. Patch enable. Then in here, again, have it go to the composer working directory. So now if we run Drupal 8 config, that didn't. Why didn't that catch? Oh, because it always has that in there. So I need to update. Anything with cd_stm. So replace. There we go. So if we run the test again, sorry, if we run the test again, you're kidding me. Yeah, because I forgot to copy in the CD to it. Not there though. CD. All right. Green. All right, so that's green. So let's go ahead and try to do the Drupal 8 test again. Hopefully this should be green. So you see that's running again. Some of these should probably be. I'm going to clean some of these up. Delete. These. So it's supposed to be cleaning up in production as well. So after they've been around for a while, they're supposed to auto clean up, but that doesn't seem to be happening. All right. Hopefully this passes now. All right, that's getting further. All right, we're getting an install. One thing I realized we're doing is source already present, downloading. So we run each composer require as its own. Oh, it kicked back. I wonder if that could be optimized. So in the config, we do composer require with no update, and then we basically run each project as its own require statement with no update, and then we modify, we add the patches and then run composer update. But I think that could be improved because running composer update will update everything that's already provided by Drupal core. It might give some weird outcomes, but maybe not. Leave that for another day to debug, because we can always find ways how to make this faster once it's running. All right, so it's ready. Oh, and it deleted because it passed. Darn it. Wanted to test through it. But all right, so we've got that. Let's do a Drupal 9 one now. Make sure. So D9. And we'll do Drupal.org project Drupal. What was it, like 9.2 dot something? 9.2.4. We use the same thing with token. And then we'll start working on some advanced ones. So I guess it's time to run that. Sweet. All right. I'm going to make an issue for this. Fix missile. Fix build errors across major versions of Drupal core and contrib projects. So bug report. I'm just going to call it task component code. This is a slew of fixes for all of the builds. Let's see. What's the build log looking like here? It's going okay. Including PHP unit fixes. Save it. So that's running. Let's change this a little bit. We're going to say items addressed. Try to give a good overview. Need the ID in here. All right. Failing PHP unit test that assert core version management. Failing PHP unit test due to changes of preview configuration updates with previous issue. So that passed. Let's say, what is it? Drupal 8 build error on CD STM when patching. So that passed. Yeah. All right. So let's create the issue fork that I can push to. And I guess the next step is to do some more manual testing. Or I want to wait to do the manual testing. I just want to make sure the builds actually go through and don't error, and then I can click through on a few things. Like the one test demos, like they have some broken images, like there's some weird like file permission stuff that's going on. Like I bet if I go preview it, when it wakes up, let's see, show commands. First, let me commit some of this stuff. Fix up builds for D8. Fix up builds for D8. Yeah, that was pretty much it for D8 and D9. Sure. Words are hard. So I'm going to commit that and git fetch. Let's change. Let's rename the branch to be there. So git branch M, I think it is. So that changed the name. Let me copy that command to push it up. And if we look, this should have the commits. Yep. Let's open the merge request. Okay, so yeah, so this is the weird problem that keeps happening is the images just don't want to generate. So what we can do is access the terminal inside Tugboat. Put it into a subdirectory called cd commerce. PHP vendor bin. No, that's right. It's off that template. So drush. Let's first do WD show, watchdog show, and see what might be happening with the all right, that's taken forever. Oh, here we go. Undefined variable operations in taxonomy term depth. So that's not the problem. Admin. Web sites default. LSL. Let's go into files. So it's owned by www data files. LSL. We've got all the files here. Read write. No, I don't want to save all this stuff. If we go back to home, so we have all this here. Styles is owned by www. Let's look at styles. Styles is empty. It's not generating image styles for some reason. So let's go to styles. So that's really odd. Media, file system. And now the whole thing is just hanging. That's really weird. So we have all the pictures are here. All the source files are here, but it's not. Whoa. All right. 504. That's new. Undefined variable operation. That's so weird. File system. Size default files. Temp directory. There's nothing in the temp. We go to content. We go to files. The file's there, but it won't generate the image styles. That's inspect image. Where's the image? It's why am I not seeing the image tag? Oh, field item. Here we go. Let's do open a new tab. Size default files. Why? Demo.com or kickstart.com. So this is the same demo, but running on Centaro's demo. One thing I noticed though is the file is got like a weird, nope, it's the same. Public there. It's like it won't generate the image style. Which is weird. It did it here. It does have the it okay token attached to it. Or is that is that actually missing? I thought I saw it, but then again, it could be. Yeah, it has the it okay attached to it. So for anybody watching that's not familiar with Drupal, that is like a little token that gets used to verify that the image style can be generated, so that way it doesn't get DDoS'd. So what it sounds like to me, or what this looks like, is that we've got something funky with Apache going on. All right, let's look at this. Preview base. D9 config. A2 and mod. Headers rewrite. Composer self update. I feel like this is that's LSLA HT access HT access rewrite rule rewrite base. Like it really looks like to me that it's not going to Drupal for sourcing the image style. You can see like it's straight up Apache throwing a 404. So I'm gonna make a note here. No, not suggest edits. I want to comment. And looks actually it looks like a problem in the base preview, maybe. Apache is serving the 404, not Drupal. So it's like Drupal is not even hitting. It's not even being hit to generate the image style. So let's see if we did. Does this still work if you did? Ha ha ha. All right. So, i.e. this works. Not. So the just quick show what I did here is I added index.php in between the slash, so that way the routing would work. And now if we refresh this page, we have the image. So it's a weird routing problem here. So I'm gonna make a new issue. Create new issue. One click demo base previews. Base previews have issues with image styles. When launching a one-click demo, they do not have image styles working. The problem isn't file permissions. It seems like an Apache issue. When hitting a style URL, we get Apache's 4.4. It doesn't rewrite to Drupal for automatic generation. This can be proven by adding code index.php before styles, like this now dead link. All right. So that's good to at least figure out. I don't know how to fix it off the top of my head besides get the base previews refreshed, but I know I can skip that for just a minute. All right. So let's go here. We'll keep that alive for a moment. So yeah, these base previews need to get refreshed, and I actually don't remember how they were built. So yeah, that's going to have to be something. Base images may need to be refreshed. Yeah. That's a whole other thing. Not whole other thing, but something that we do have to do. All right. Nails launch. Let's do password policy with D8 or main with patch. Let's try adding patches to stuff. And make sure it gets patched. This test could be hard because what if the patch gets committed? Oh, well, if it gets committed, it will still apply against that version. Sorry, excuse me. All right, let's go. Actually, maybe I should turn these into a whole bunch of different tests. Like one for D7, one for D8. I'm going to just skip that idea. I'm going to punt it because the whole part here is I don't want to have to click around in the user interface to generate these. I want tests I can just do it for me with patches. So let's go to the org project token. Let's find version 7.x. Sure, we'll pick this one. Actually, I want to find a tiny patch. That's 5.6. Sure, how about this? We'll pick this one. And I think the patches structure just looks like this. Yeah, it does. All right, 777 with patches. So let's run it. And again, we won't know the patch like fully applied, but at least it doesn't crash. That's the main thing I'm testing right now, is that we get builds that complete without crashing. We got to clean up all these remotes in that repo. That's one thing. Maybe I can do that while I'm here. So one way that the way that SimplyTest used to work is we actually had to make GitHub commits to this repo. So there's like a lot of branches. So every time that a job ran, it created a branch. And that branch had commits made to the tugboat configuration. And this is how it used to work. But now that Tugboat made some updates to the API, we don't need to make commits to a repo to launch something. So I'm going to just try to clean up some of these stale branches, because if we can get these cleaned up, it will make it a little bit faster. But this is also against the dev, and I don't know if I have access to the prod one, but we just need to like bulk delete all of these. So that passed, didn't explode. Let's test Drupal 8 with additionals. So for this one, we're going to do password policy, because this has been one of my tests, is doing, let's see. Let's go to the beta because I don't have this running. So doing password policy and adding an additional project with password policy pwned. So working through this way, I thought we added the ability to patch additional projects. Why is that missing? Sorry, distracted. We added the ability to be able to patch additional projects as well, but I'm not seeing that in the UI. So additionals, let's see, I can't remember what this format is supposed to be, and it should be tested somewhere. It's not looking like it is. Okay. It should be the same array format as this. The best way to go find out, preview config generator for each additional. As see, yeah, we have patches support here. Sorry, patching commands, download commands. So we're testing it on 8, which this supports 8.8. For each additionals, short name and version. Perfect. So the next one is password policy pwned. Latest, that version. All right. We'll run that and see if it goes through. I'm going to clean up some more of these branches. Now, what needs to happen is we also have to get it fixed on the not dev, because that should make the builds faster because it has less to pull from GitHub. while I'm here, one of the smarter things to probably do is base commerce. Let's look here. Config.yaml. So what's going on here? A2 enable rewrite headers, the MariaDB client, opcache, BC math. All right, it runs composer create project. It does a whole bunch of echo into the settings. None of this should be why it breaks. Install prerequisite packages. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's broken. But this base does need to be fixed up, or this base preview does need to be updated. Let's go look at this thing that's building. Hope for some good output here. Boom, successfully enabled password policy and ctools. Oh, so it does not install the additional project. So let's go fix that. What we should do, let's see, get installing commands. Okay, so if perform install is false, we drop in this default settings.php. Provide a hash salt. For each, so if Drupal 9 we do that, and if 8 or 9, it's supposed to enable each additional. No, and it deleted itself. That's where we use this. We're going to rename it. We're going to use some naming. 8.9.2 12 token. This is 8.9.12 token with patch. Panoply. Prove that Panoply distro. Perform install false. Node rush si. Oop, that's backwards. Drupal core with patches. All right, need to do yield module with do 8.9.12 password policy and All right, so let's make sure that this actually installs the secondary or the additional project. So we do password policy. Additionals should be. No, I can't even remember. Base. What was this going? Generate from the parameters. Parameters, additionals. We have short name and version. All right. So I can actually copy this. And that version number. I should see password policy 3.0 beta 1 with Drush EN password policy. Let's run it with the named yields so that way we can actually read what's going on. Undefined array key short name. Isn't that what I added here? Oh, I double nested it on accident because of a bad copy paste. So if I rerun the field, undefined array key patches. Oh yeah, because we support patching on the projects. All right, the update. Oh, that's broken. So we found out that something's not actually fixed here. Preview config generator. Get composer compatible version string. There. So found another place that was broken, at least. Let's debug. Not debug. Run that again. The next failure should be, okay, so it is being added to the install. That's good enough for me to know that it's happening. I feel like we should have it do it as one single command, but I guess this way we know exactly where it fails. So would we go here? We fixed, or we tested additionals. So test additional projects. Let's do it on D9 also. Yeah, I guess. Change the Drupal version. There we go. All right, we'll run that. And that should build up. But what I can at least commit is this. Fix additional project composer require on D8. Right? Did I fix it in D8 only? Yeah, D8 is there. Drupal 9 is CD STM. Commit. Now commit this test when this is done. I'm going to go ahead and delete some more branches. There is like a bulk way to do it. No, don't restore. I wrote some kind of JavaScript to go through and click the delete button. But I don't know where it is in my history. But man, I'm hoping deleting some of these branches will make it so much faster. What? No, I don't want to rename that too. It's enabled. So see, hold on. But here it only installed password policy and ctools. But in the unit test, it says that it's working. D9 config test. I guess we'll have to. I don't want to copy that over. But I'm going to have to. All right. Yield. What do we have for D8? I just want to make sure that this is working right. So password policy and password policy pwned. Copy the project. Copy the stuff inside of additionals. And the versions to make it somewhat realistic. Password policy 3.0 beta 1. We should also then get for password policy 1.0 beta 2. And we should get the drush command for these both. Should, but I'm not actually seeing this inside of the build when we run it. Okay. Something's not right. Let's go to the config generator. So it download commands, not download. Nope, that's for the demos, the one-click demos. Get install commands. Here we go. So Drupal 8, Drupal 9. So if Drupal 9 for each additionals, drush en short name. So now if we run the test, should pass. I don't get why it looked like the command was just skipped, but we'll also mark this as fix additional project install on D9. run. Let's push it up. And update the issue summary a little bit. Drupal 8 composer errors on requiring additional projects. Let's see. Drupal 9 errors when Drupal 9 wrong drush command for installing additional projects. So there's there. Views D7, we could try that. Some distro, one-click demo. Actually, why don't we try doing that with instance manager test. Let's try to install Panoply on D9. So test Panoply. So the install profile, actually, let's go to the preview, or wait, Panoply. Here we go. Let's drag it over to the side. So project is Panoply version. Oh, so new versions have been tagged. I am helping out with that port. No tags though. So we're gonna make it say 8.x. We're gonna copy the latest dev. No additional projects for this. I have these as constants somewhere. So, sorry. There we go. All right, that should run it. Manual install, it's false, which is perform install true. These names are all mixed matched because one is from the new API endpoint and one was a bunch of internal stuff that just never got renamed. So yeah, that's not confusing at all. All right, let's just see if it builds Panoply even. Doing base testing with Panoply. All right, we'll see if that builds. I'm curious about what the base 9 base Drupal 9 moving drush. So it just does some of these, which we can remove this git clone. Actually, I don't know if the base is actually helping out in this case. Oh, and it failed. Error, called a member git path on null in task, on install task. Install Drupal. The following profile is missing from the file system, Panoply. Well, that's That's a lot of errors. Copy. Installing. Oh, so it did not download it, which I thought. Composer require here. Oh, yeah. They're not downloaded, but they are chosen as the install profile. You know what? I kind of want to just fix that right now. Let's see if I can fix it. Preview config generator. Distro is distro. This should probably be removed, but it's kept for BC during the initial refactor. Not anymore. So I think if we just remove those two lines, and Drupal 7 might be too hard to do. Drupal 7 plus distro might be too hard. Not to do. That's a note. So let's go to the config test for Drupal 9. That's probably going to error out because we'll now have a composer require. So let's add that in. To the Panoply. What was that? It was like before patching, I think. Oh, yeah. And before patching, there's a composer update that runs. And failed. Drupal 8 is probably going to fail on that too now. Because we have this here. So it looks like Drupal 9 is causing a double composer update, and that should be fixed. Right, because the Drupal 9, it's showing this. So let's see if we can download. Yeah, we don't need that. Because we're doing it here as part of patching. So let's rerun Drupal 8 config. It's a pass. Drupal 9. That failed a whole bunch. To do this can probably be removed, but all D9 config test needs update. I'm not dealing with that right now because that is mind numbing and a half. Let's again run and run. Add that back. So let's go ahead and run the instance manager test for Panoply. And see if it installs. This will be exciting to be able to test profiles Which one thing we should probably check, patching, selected project branch is not supported. Advanced options should not be conditional. Yeah, I'm going to create a new issue. So what we need is, I can't think of the name right now. Oh, we don't even have turn on enable patching in root composer for D8, D9. So profiles can patch core. Their feature requests there. Some profiles may have patches that need to apply to Drupal core or other contrib. The patching library has a setting that allows other packages to patch other modules. For distro profile support, we probably need this to be enabled. Maybe it's a custom command added in setup if we're working with a distro. That makes sense. One second, I have to reply to this email quick. One second, there's something that broke on a client site. All right. So that's for profiles. This failed again. Let's see. W. Okay. Panoply 2.x.dev is an alias. Requires 9.21. Oh, because I'm using dev. So wait. What? Panoply 2.x is satisfiable by, we require 9.2, and Panoply requires dev. Oh, Drupal core 8? Really? I thought it supported. Let's do get.drupal.org. Panoply. I thought it was. Hold the phone. 8.2.x. Composer.json. Drupal core 8.8 or 9. Dev2x requires Drupal core 8. Well, that's a lie, because I am working on this and using Drupal 9. All right. Well, to get this to work right, we're going to just change that. Drupal or composer facade says no. That's weird. Don't install core 9.2.4. Yep. Panoply 2.xdev is an alias of, and thus it requires it to be installed. 2. Panoply dev 2x requires Drupal core squiggly 8.0. But that's not the complete truth. Yeah, let's look at the blame. Changed core requirement 9 months ago from 8.6. Oh, let's just try this again. I just want to see if I can get it installed. And clean up more branches. I think we could clean this up if we go to stale branches. Grease lion. Let's see. What do we got here for this class? Button type submit, title delete branch, name return to. So let's do elements button title equals button. All right, we got 20 of it for each el that click. Ha ha ha. I feel fancy now. Stale branches 2 years ago. Delete them all. STM, these are all STM. Let's look here. Oh, it's installing Panoply. It didn't crash. Oh, but it failed. Have unmet dependencies. Path auto. Let's see, is this going to have it there, or is it going to be above? Have CTools and path auto. Well, this is being a little weird, so we're just gonna delete that. Here, let's do this, mark test incomplete. Weird issues afoot, like missing path auto and CTools dependency. So we can just do that. Allow testing distros. All right, I'm gonna push that. I'm at 2 hours, which is how long I do my streams for. It's now 5 o'clock here, and it's Friday, so I'm going to go probably do yard work. All right, so let me just make sure this is all cleaned up. Got that base tested. I opened this issue. I should link it there. got that issue created later on. There we go. And this is the issue I was working on today. I'm gonna mark it as needs review. I'll have Adam check it out, and hopefully these will be shipped out over the weekend. We have a fancy build tooling setup. So we're using violinist.io to receive updates. So whenever we make merges to Drupal.org, we'll get a pull request to this repo, which is the website repo, to update Simply Test Me. So you can see closed. So you can see these are all sent by Violinist. We actually have this cool nightly workflow, main to prod scheduled. It's scheduled to run every night. And if there's any commits that occur on main, it'll open a pull request for us to prod. And right now, prod is this beta.simplytest.me. Eventually, I want to have it where if the checks pass, it automatically merges that merge request or pull request. So that way we get literally continuous deployment. Like when we merge something on Drupal.org, within the next day, it will automatically merge out to production thanks to bots. We're not quite there yet, but we will be soon. So thanks for hanging out. And yeah, we should have the new simplytest.me pretty soon. All right, bye.